There we are, and everything is going good. So nice to finally have a stream that's working. Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 27th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I am your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. Today we have a couple different topics that we're going to be going over. First, I just want to go over a couple quick updates that I've made to the Discord, which is now live and available, so I will put that in chat here in just a minute. Feel free to join whenever you guys can. This way we can always discuss things as a community, plus it gives you guys ideas to talk to me directly, or give me ideas for things that you want to hear me and Kage talk about on stream. You can submit your own homebrew ideas for us to look over and do our discussions, and also gives you guys options to give me some good topics that you want to hear us talk about, as well as just answer any general questions. So otherwise, after that, we're going to do a session of high-low, seeing as how I don't have Kage here in the studio with me today, but I do want to keep the reviews going on Mondays. So what I think I might do is, if we do have submissions, I really like him here. I think it's actually better for the entire audience and for the people that are submitting them to get both of our opinions. And it's also easier for us to do that instead of me review it all at once and then try to squeeze his full review in, as well as let us do both of our banter into a completely different episode. So with that, I think what I'll do on Mondays is do these high lows when I'm by myself, which will be things from outside sources. So like this one, we're still doing the high lows of D&D Beyond. And then once we do all of those, I don't know if I'm going to continue with D&D Beyond. Frankly, I don't know what else I could do in terms of high-low, but the idea is that both Kage and I really do enjoy the homebrew reviews, and we really want to make that a thing for Mondays. But when he's not here, I just feel like it diminishes the experience for everyone. So in that particular case, I'm looking to fill that gap. So I'm still doing the high-lows because we still have a couple things. Today we're going to do spells, and then I think we have like a couple other items, but that's another reason why I want to build the Discord and build that community, so I can understand what you guys want to hear. What's going on, Cosmic? Good thing you have nothing new for me today for your dude. That is actually really good. I know that you mentioned something this weekend that you've been working on, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if that was the pinnacle, or if you just filled in some more details about like that end game. Which side is that? That's this one. Hang on a second. There we go. I found out that my main camera was dead right before stream, so I had to quickly scramble and get the old camera up. So if the quality is down, that's why, but everything's still working. It's just getting it nice and tuned and set up between the monitors. It's a little different. Don't know if you guys can actually notice, I do like this new setup. We did get a new light, and I've used one of the stands that I have when Kage's here. That's usually over to my left, which is the one I'm looking at, and the one he's looking at that holds both the cameras when we're streaming together. I have that now behind my desk, holding my camera. So this way, it's actually in between my monitors instead of like on my desk in front of everything. I'm hoping the angles are better. I'm hoping that the quality in general is better, but we're going to be looking to increase all of that, of course, over time. Where was I? Yes. So I want to go over the Discord a little bit. We're going to do a high-low. Cosmic, I want to hear more about your D&D session earlier today. Oh yes, the Phoenix Folk. That's right. It was about the Phoenix Folk in the party learning about, that's right, about the parents and them actually being able to take care of all the kids, or take care of all the kids. So yeah, absolutely. I know Kage is going to be all over that. So I really want to circle back to that next time he's here, because that concept, the orphan concept, and giving the players this concept of choice, and then letting his mind take a whirl with the potential that these are going to be their future characters. I know he's going to come up with some good ideas, and I want to talk to him too, because I actually really like that idea of having somewhere down the party's line, having them run into something like an orphan, a group of orphans, or in hatchlings in this case. And I love this idea of, you give the party the opportunity to either essentially not necessarily kill them, but abandon them in a sense, or do something terrible, or they could take them under their wing. And the idea would be that you would essentially roll for what each child's interests are, And then the idea would be each player would decide which one they want to take under their wing based on those interests. So it may be that their interests are in line, or maybe that their interests are in something else, but you don't tell them that they're going to be their future characters. And then, yeah, the idea that they take on those traits that they instilled, whether they knew it or not. That is such a fascinating idea. In fact, it's actually an amazing idea for, like, let's say you have a large party, right? Let's say you have like 6 gamers or something, and you even mentioned this where it's going to be the party group -1. But let's say you have like a pivotal moment where everyone either wants to take a break, you've defeated a current BBEG, or someone can't make it for a while and you don't want to progress the main campaign. An amazing one-shot would be bringing people together with those characters that were created in that other game, and have that one-shot be, like part of like that side quest. Throw all your party in jail. Like, let's say someone's saying like, hey, we want to do a one shot, throw the entire party in jail or something, or get them trapped by the BBEG and imprisoned. And then that one shot is using those other characters to save them or something. I love this idea and I want to play with it more. I really want to hear what Kage has to say about it, because I think he's going to have a lot more ideas that we can jump from. And then you said, back the first Phoenix folk had a fight dragged on long enough, or so they thought. It's also good it is also good as, according to the Arakaka race info, they reach maturity faster than other races, but only have the average lifespan of about 30. That's actually really cool. That would actually be, that's actually a good, like a good charging point, or a good point behind even having a very quick, not short, but a quick leveling one shot, or not necessarily a one shot, that's a bad word for it, but like a smaller, like 2 or 3 session campaign. That would actually be a good reason for being able to jump levels very quickly. Start the first campaign at like level 3, then jump right to like level 8, jump right to level 15 in those multiple sessions, due to the maturity and then the in between. So many fascinating ideas. Yeah, really want to talk about that next week. Bring that up to us, or send that over to me in the Discord or something, so I can talk to Kage about the hatchlings, because I think he's going to be all over that, and I really want to hear what ideas that he comes up with. Oh, and right, going back to my original topic, I remember I had a question on what else I was talking about. Other than the Discord and the high-low today, and hearing about Cosmic's gaming session, I'm going to do a little bit at the very end, talk about my current thoughts on Baldur's Gate. I've been playing it, on stream a little bit more. My thoughts and ideas about it have evolved, and I'm really, really interested, mainly because we are going to be doing officially the Evil run-through starting this weekend. I don't know how many sessions. I'm hoping for at least 3 full gaming sessions, like full sit-down streams for this, but it's also going to really depend on my buddy who's joining me for this. So we are starting that on Saturday. Really nice that he's actually going to join me. I don't think he's going to be in the studio, but he will be on stream with me. Not on video, but he will be calling in, and I'm going to get to interview him, bring him into the studio, just kind of like I did Kage, let him talk a little bit, and then we are essentially going to discuss a little bit about what our plans are for the Evil run, and mainly we're going to circle on a topic that we talked about a couple streams ago, and I can't remember, Cosmic, if you were here for that discussion. Hang on a second, it seems super bright on this camera. Now it seems super gray. Yeah, I don't know. This is better than being bright. But we wanted, okay, so Cosmic, I believe that was it you or was it Baba Kiss that brought up to us on one of the streams? I think it was you who brought it up to me. I was doing something and you brought up the idea of session zeros and how to improve upon a session 0 outside of everyone meets at a tavern. I believe that was you, and I think that was on a Thursday stream. So I had some things to say. I think we brought it up on the next stream with Kage, and he had a couple ideas, but I told my buddy about this, and he really wants to talk on this topic. So this Thursday, we're going to have him in the studio, do a quick little interview, talk a little bit about what our Evil plans are for Baldur's Gate, but then we're going to jump into that topic and really dive into some of his ideas, and I want to have him on this on the stream more. It just really depends on his schedule. But what's going to be really nice is because he and I approach D&D really, really differently. It's going to be really nice to have his side of it on the store on the stream, because I think his insights are really going to help reinforce like what Kage and I talk about a lot. Where I know it seems like we're very heavily leaning on towards people homebrewing and making their own, but again, ours isn't so much creating your own as it is adapting what is already out there to make the most sense and have the most fun. And the approach that he takes doing that, he is definitely much more steeped in the books than I am with what he does. But the way that he does his alterations, the way that he goes about doing it, I think will help solidify, that thinking beyond the book concept, where it will take a little bit less away from us, where it seems like we're much more about, the open world and sandboxy type of anything can happen and we just create it as we go. But again, with Kage and I, we don't necessarily create absolutely everything in terms of the mechanics and all of that, but it does seem like we lean towards that way. So I really want that kind of alternative, direction that we take, and have him be able to explain a little bit more, so we get some more examples of what we're talking about. And I think it will help really balance out a lot of what we said. And if we have time, I would love to talk to him about some of the homebrews that we've done and just get his kind of like initial idea. We may not do a full deep dive, but what I might do is pick like 2 or 3 that have been submitted and just read them to him and just kind of gain his first reaction, see what he says about them, and then move on to the next one, because we'll have, I don't know how long we'll have for Thursday, but yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation. Join us on Thursday on D&D discussions for that. It'll be a lot of fun, and yeah, I would like to see how well that goes, because if it goes really well, we'll be able to do it a lot more. Let's see. Cosmic, what'd you say? It's also good. They reach maturity. It's also good, according to their cargo race information, that when they reach maturity faster than other races. Oh, wait, no, I already read that part. Weird. Oh, and you just wrote something new. So today's D&D session. Okay, cool. So let's circle back to that right when let me do my Discord updates, and then we'll circle back to that, and then we'll do our high-low. So this weekend, well, I guess not just this weekend specifically, but I have been making progressive updates to the D&D Discord, or to the Misfit Gamers Studios Discord. So just wanted to go over a couple of those and let y'all know just what we're doing with it. I'm really liking where it's going. Can't wait for it to really start actually growing and being interacted with. I think kind of like my realm, it'll be a lot more fun once I see what people are using and how much better it can be. But I keep making subtle changes, adding little things here and there to make it just feel a lot more intuitive and make it easier and more welcoming for people right out the gate, instead of feeling daunting. So we'll jump right into it. So nothing really on the rules have changed. It's basically all the same rules, Once you get in, if you guys do want to join, let me pop this into the chat. Talking about our Discord. All right, I love that little thing. So basically, if y'all do want to join, when you get in, you'll just have to do the, accept our rules. They're pretty basic, y'all. Be nice, be kind, be better. Don't be a shitbag. Don't talk trash. Be cool with everybody. This is the whole point, again, is that no one's wrong here. We're all trying to enjoy the game, and the whole point of the game is imaginary roleplay with, a rule foundation. That's the concept, right? But in reality, let's face it, it's a Discord. Not everyone's going to agree with each other. All I say is just be civil about it. You don't have to agree, but the whole point is to discuss each side. You're not trying to prove each other wrong or right, but just state your point and move on. But yeah, anyway, once you guys want to come in and accept the rules, you're just going to come down here to the Get Verified. Go ahead and hit that. That's going to at least get you assigned with the bot. That's going to also cue us off that you're here. Once you do those two things, you're going to have access to the follower verification. We do request, or pretty much require, that if you want to interact with the Discord, you will have to be a follower on the stream. That way we can vet who you are. It just helps with spam and just, you know, keeping raids, like raids and all of that stuff out. So it's pretty much a 3-step process. Accept the rules, hit the verify button, and then post your stream name in here. Once you get verified, as you can see, you'll get your little check mark. That basically means me or one of my mods have verified you. And then once you're in, you're going to have access to everything. Just please read the rules. That's all we ask. Every channel has a pin message. Once you've been verified and you're accepted in, you may not see everything, but once you go into the pin message and click on it, it should open up the entire channel for you and all of the history. So it's kind of one of those things we're just trying to reinforce. Please read the rules. They're not very long. You know, the actual rules are probably the longest. This is literally just, you know, guidelines for how you're going to get into the server. And then all of the other ones are really just very, very small messages. It's just letting you know what's supposed to go in here. And we just really want to make sure things like, you know, D&D artwork. It's a very one-sentence blurb, but it's just there to let you guys know what our intentions are, follow those rules, and it's pretty simple. So 3-step verification and you're in. Get all the get all access to all the channels. Don't have much in it just yet, but we are going to get better and have things more on schedule. But as you can see, I'm trying to practice here, even though I don't really have anybody in the Discord at the moment. You know, we are trying to get good at letting everybody know what's going on. So we're going to have a bot set up. These are just some examples of what we'll do in terms of updates, but things of, if we know, like, you know, we had a last Thursday was canceled. We knew that Kage wasn't going to be in the stream today. So things like that will get posted. Events, you know, eventually we'll have the bot start posting events, so I probably won't post the evil run through just yet, but things like that, when we know that there's going to be a really scheduled thing, or like, let's say I'm going to have a special guest on the stream, I'll post those either in updates or events. I'm not really sure yet. Events may just be a future hold for things like raffles, giveaways, and all that kind of thing. So we're still playing with all of that. Obviously the schedule, I'll have it much nicer. I'm still working on how I want it to look, but yeah, we'll have the schedule posted. You know, FAQs, once we start getting people asking questions, the leaderboards, all of the stuff that we've reviewed, it will be a full list of everything we've reviewed, as well as categories and leaderboards for each category. Suggestions, this is where you guys can give us suggestions on how to make the Discord better or how to make the stream better. These aren't topics, so these are specifically, you know, very specifically just how would the Discord be better? Do we need a new channel? Do we need to moderate better? Do we need to, you know, do you want to suggest a bot for the stream if you notice that, you know, audio quality is bad? If you have suggestions for how we can improve our video, how we can improve chat, those are things that we want to hear. If you do have a technical difficulty, that's where the ticket system is. If you do have a topic that you want to hear us talk about, that's the topic section. If you have a question that you want to have us answer on stream, that's under the questions of stream info. If you have specific... Oh, hang on a second. Why do I have 2 topics? D&D related. Something happened here. Ideas for D&D discussions live stream as well as games. D&D hyper related topics live stream. Interesting. I don't know why I have 2. I'm gonna have to go back. Obviously I was doing something. I probably meant this to be a new section and I just got caught up doing something else and I don't remember, because I know I wanted topics, questions, submissions for homebrews. I don't know what it was supposed to be for, but I will find out later. But we do have the submissions if you have things for homebrew. I don't know what this was for. I don't really need it because... Topics to discuss. Streaming ideas for topics for the D&D discussions live stream as well as games for... But yeah. Yeah, I don't need this one. I think maybe that's if I need it, I'll come up with it again. But yeah, submissions. If you guys have submissions, this is where we want to have you guys actually submit all your stuff for your homebrew, your classes, your races, your items. If you just have write-ups about scenarios, things, basically the stuff that you've been seeing Cosmic submit, this is where you would submit them for us to review. And then on the next available time, we'll be able to schedule those in. You have your community area. This is not really changed, but just a quick, obviously you have your community chat. We'll be able to post polls. We have D&D artwork page. So this page is going to be more specific to, because we really like to highlight when people actually go out of their way to do their own artwork, or when they play in groups that do their own artwork. That's what we really like to highlight. I mean, obviously I like to go, you've seen my other Discords. I like to go out, I will go to Google, I will find a cool image for the moment in an enclosed game space, one that I wouldn't stream, and that's fine. But if you do your own artwork, or if you're in a gaming group where someone does their own artwork, and that includes if they're a digital artist, we want to highlight that, right? So specifically, don't post web images or AI generated art. That's not what we're looking for. This is your artwork, or specifically someone in your gaming group that you would like to share it. We want to highlight that. Any other artwork, anything else, if you find it online, if you do use AI, basically if it's just anything that does inspire you, or things that you have used that are not yours, this is where you would post them. Totally open to letting all of that be shared. Absolutely, we want to see all of that. If you have, things like maps, if you have landscapes, if you have character designs, just basically anything that you like, this is where you want to post it. If you're talking about something, I just dropped my pen. If you're talking about something in chat, I would, if it's smaller pictures, that's great. But if you want to start posting a lot of, like a list of pictures, this is also kind of like the dump zone. So you could say, hey, go over in D&D Inspirations and look at the list. But again, keep it D&D related. But we wanted to separate those two, right? If someone actually has done the work of creating their own artwork, we do want that in a separate area to be highlighted, so it doesn't get lost. And with your guys' permission, if you do submit something and you want to see it on stream, we'll definitely want to highlight. We won't really highlight anything that's, again, web created or web searched or AI generated, but we will absolutely want to, if you're with your permission, we will definitely go over the artwork that is yours and your gaming groups. I need my pen back. Hang on a second. Oh, it is the pen of concentration. All right, so and then DM questions. So this area is definitely different than the questions in the stream info. The biggest difference is questions here under stream info is specific questions that you would like to see me or Kage answer on stream. Down here, DM questions is essentially just a section of if you're in chat and you just want to just hear us out or just get a quick answer of maybe you want to know what High Point would do, or maybe you just want to know a ruling that Kage would do or that I would make. If that's what you want and you just need it quick and you don't necessarily care about if it's on stream, that's where this spot's for, because these are areas where you can come in here and then just post it, and you'll be able to directly just, get the answer as soon as, at my earliest availability. And the idea for here is, like, let's say if you guys are all in chat and you all want an official answer, or, there's just a question that comes up, this is an area to get my attention. And, hopefully one day it could also be interesting if someone's in the middle of a game and just wants another point of view, they could come in here and post this and, reasonably be able to get a response relatively quickly. So depending on, how busy this area gets, I would love to have this just filled with questions that I can constantly answer, because this is one of the things I enjoy most about D&D is, not just talking about what I would do, not in a selfish way, but I like thinking about D&D. I like questions. That's why I like these homebrews that Cosmic has been sending, and I like the world that he's been building, because that's the part of D&D that I enjoy the most. I mean, playing is always fun, but the metagaming is really where I enjoy it the most, which is the whole point of this stream. But that's that. We also have the public spaces. Basically, this is just, the chat rooms. You have the tavern, the inn, and the market. They're just places where you guys can come hang out, chit-chat with each other, chit-chat with us if we're in there. And then the bulletin board, pretty much it's just a dedicated chat room. It's not meant to be an ongoing chat, but obviously if you're in the voice chat, and you're talking about stuff, and let's say you want to share a link or you want to share a photo that's relevant to the conversation being had, it would be easier to say, hey, go check out the bulletin board, then post it in community chat, and then just have it flooded. I mean, because you can see we have so much going on in here. I mean, whew, look at all this chat, guys. Look at it. Look at all that chat. Like, you're gonna lose it. You're gonna, if you post something in here, it's gone seconds. But I digress. Point being is, this is just an area to where if you want to, use text or share something while you're in one of the chat rooms, that's what this is for. It's just a dedicated area to make it easier than for info sharing or just sidebarring. Other than that, we have the game rooms. I did separate this a little bit just because they aren't really that important, but if anyone wants to, it gets messy when you start using the codes, so I broke them all out. So we have the work one where you can do all of your work options to earn money. This one will just be dedicated for blackjack, this one for roulette, and then this one is just for the random rolls that you can do if you're just feeling frisky, need to roll a dice, or if you want to, make a selection on something. Again, probably a dead channel, but point is it's there. Our resources haven't really... Oh yeah, I did fill this up. So just resources that Kage and I have used in the past, and then we'll take suggestions from you guys on what else should be in here. But these are just different areas that we have found over the years as good places to go and get quick references, depending on what edition and depending on the question that you have. So all of these, I would not say each and every one is created equal. There's no particular order to these, but some are better at things than others. And it really just comes down to search them, see if it vibes with you, and see if you like how it looks. But these are the better ones that we have gone through. Obviously, there's probably dozens more, but this is a solid list of ones that I know that Kage and I have used in the past repeatedly for various things. And so I'm at least, willing to be like, hey, I'm not saying that, this is accurate. Some of these are, homebrew stuff, but they're great references for a lot of the main things. And depending on how you like your information spread out, they all have different ways of interacting with the data and searching and filtering. So they'll all be, there's something for everyone, basically. D&D news. Again, I don't have a lot in here. I'm just trying to get things tested and figure out how we're going to do things. And what we're going to be posting in each of these channels. So I found that this was a really interesting interview and thought that would be a great opportunity to post in here. And that is just test number one. But I'm hoping to get a bot. I would like to see us get like a news bot or something that would post in here regularly. I think that would be really cool. But I don't know what we can do for one that's D&D specific. So, plans. And then other than that, I just have the stream channel, which will only be, pretty much is going to be used for when we have our interview on Thursday. So yeah, there is the Discord. It is open for everybody to join. I do hope that over the coming months and over the coming years, we will see this grow and have a good interactive community that will be really fun to just hear everybody's side of things and then be able to just see what people actually want. It's be a little bit easier to hear from you guys in the Discord than it would be in like YouTube comments, although I do want YouTube comments someday, but that helps for engagement. So YouTube comments and then join the Discord. All right, but that's it for the Discord updates. So we are good to pop this down. We are going to go into that here shortly. But first, I want to hear a little bit more about Cosmic's gaming session earlier. All right, let me come back to his. All right, so today's D&D session that Cosmic had. And this is with the Haragon Monk character that we discussed in a previous stream like 2 weeks ago. And it was fairly okay. So you started session with combat against 2 gargoyles. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm just going to do a quick lookup just so I'm up to it, up to snuff with what you guys handled, because I actually don't. It's been a while since I've handled a gargoyle in game, so I'm not up to speed. I mean, I know you guys hear that all the time from me. Come on, let me have the gargoyle. Let me have it. Aha, we do. Okay, so you were up against two of these. So, all right. So medium elemental, armor class 15, hit points of 52, speed of 30. Okay, so strength and con high. Okay, so it's resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't adamantium. Interesting. Adamantium. Oh, Jesus. That is not what that said. Adamantine. Interesting. So damage immunities is also poison, exhaustion, petrified, poison immunities, dark vision, passive perception, false appearance while a gargoyle remains motionless. It is indistinguishable from an inanimate statue. Multi-attack. The gargoyle makes 2 attacks, one with its bite, one with its claw. And then these are +4 to hit, 5 reach, 1 target. Ooh, okay, 1d6 +2. It's not terrible, but they have a lot of defense. And 1d6 +2 slashing damage, but that +4 to hit, that's rough. So you had 2 of those, okay. And then you ended the previous session with your character using a cage chained to the ceiling as a wrecking ball, both to smash down on otherwise locked door as well as an improvised weapon. All right, all right. So I'm trying to imagine that. So there was a cage hanging from the ceiling, and so I'm assuming you got up there. Did you get on it and swing from it, or did you use magic to swing it? But that's interesting that you use it as an improvised weapon and to smash the locked door. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant, though. Great use, great use of your environment. Fantastic. So you hit one gargoyle and did some bludgeoning damage to it. It hit a wall and took fall damage, but it landed on a fellow party member. Damn. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Then it landed. Okay, so it landed on the party member. Once you jumped off the chain, the chained cage, you attacked the other gargoyle while the first one was cornered. You had a fun little stunt. Let's see. So what is it? So fun little stunt that worked out well for a killing blow. Using your Kai-infused unarmored strikes, you broke one of its teeth and used your second attack to shove it down its throat. That is beautiful. I love that. I am interested. Okay, so here's something that I'm very interested in. That is a beautiful description. I love that happened, but I'm very, very curious now. Who came up with the tooth loss? Like, was this all your idea of using your Kai points or your key points to do the extra hits? And did you say, are they strong enough to break a tooth? Can I use that? Like, did you lead this, or was it a back and forth with the DM where you did the first hit, did damage, they said the tooth popped out, then you jumped on that descriptor and said, oh, the tooth popped out, I now use that as an improvised weapon? And the reason why I ask is I'm always fascinated with how these stories, because I hear a lot of these stories and I love them, but I never get down to how these stories happen. And because sometimes I've struggled in the past as a DM, and this is a topic I do want to talk about. I've struggled in the past as a DM to know how much leeway and how much authority to give players during cinematic events, and how much authority they get in the situation as a whole. You know, there's a lot of times where the DM will say, hey, you know, what do you do? Explain it. Or, hey, you get the killing blow. How do you do it? And those are always cool. And usually, especially if it's like a killing blow, there's not a real lot of issue with it. But I have played with players who are much more interested in narrating than they are playing their character. And I do feel there's like there's that fine line between giving agency to do that, and then there are players who try to narrate, as in they try to take more control of what's actually happening than they would have, as their character. So that's why I ask, because I'm always fascinated to know how other gaming groups are handling those situations, because I'm always trying to get better myself, and I'm always trying to understand. Because most of my gaming players have been with me for a very long time. We all kind of get it, and they've learned enough from my style of gaming and my style of DMing that they are in tune to where I don't really hold them back if they start to kind of not narrate, but if they start to really control the cinematic of it and they kind of take over, especially with their own character, totally fine. They're well within the bounds. They know what works with me. But with new players, I'm always still kind of like, I want to bring it out, right? I want to bring it out of them. I want them to have that natural desire to let their mind be very creative and wander. But it's that hard point of when do they start narrating the game and actually taking away, the control of the DM. So anyway, you wrote back to me. So, blah, blah, blah. So we did hit the thing, grabbed his tooth, and then shoved it down its throat. Turned out to be a killing blow. God, that's such a cool thing. So the monks have the ability to walk on walls and water if they have a running start. So you jumped... So as a bunny person does, oh, that's right. Yeah, this is the bunny character, and use the momentum to get its impact damage. So this was all of, so you're the one who, so you came in, did the damage. So did you ask, like again, how do you work with your DM? Do you do the damage and say, hey, would that have been able to pop out a tooth and then do it? Or are you on the side of you just explain what you do and wait for him to basically let you know if that was cool or not? Because that's, again, I've read, or not read, but I've looked at some other DMs and what they've said in interviews and stuff about this topic. So I'm really curious because someone once there is a argument to be made for the idea of kind of the ask for forgiveness over permission, as in it's easier to announce everything you want to do instead of asking your DM if you can. And the mindset is that if you say, hey, in your case, hey, if can his tooth pop out if I hit him? If your DM doesn't already give you that, that descriptor. The argument was essentially that by doing that, you're essentially asking the DM to do more work. And a lot of DMs, especially newer DMs, may not be quick on their feet, may not be thinking beyond what they've already planned, or may not just want to do the work, or they may not be paying attention and they may just gloss over it. Which, again, if you're in that gaming group where you're asking, that may derail, your cinematic, or, the actions that you want to take. I don't say cinematic as in something that's, less, but the actions that you want to take cinematically and again, the takeover that you do in terms of the narration of what's happening. But yeah, they talked about basically they're more likely than not you would get DMs that would be less likely to say yes, especially if you're asking for details that they haven't created and that they would have to take control of. Whereas if you state the full intent, kind of like what, I'm assuming you did, whereas I hit him, I want to hit him so hard that his tooth pops out and then I'm going to grab that tooth and shove it down his throat. That takes so much in the argument that, I think it was a YouTube video made, is by doing that, you take a lot off the DM because you've already kind of given them the what you want to do, the how you want to do it, and the how, not necessarily the why, but the other how, which is how does it mechanically work, right? And I think the YouTube video I think their example was someone wanted to defeat a creature and then use a part of that creature in a potion or a poison or something. And so instead of asking the DM if it had these parts or if they could harvest it, the idea was that they would present the idea of, I'm going to harvest it and I'm going to look for this particular gland to then make into my potion as an ingredient. It takes so much weight off of the DM to make sense of it and to do anything. They're more likely to say, hey, I like that idea, let's roll with it. And that's what I want to pull out of my players, and that's why I really liked that argument. I kind of agree with it, where for the average player, I think most people won't go overboard, so it's probably a good idea to state the full intent and let your DM kind of guide it from there instead of wait for the DM to create everything. But at the same time, as a DM, be careful, because there are some people who will take liberty with that and then just start rolling out essentially their own rule book. And I think that's just always where I've struggled, is, when to put those barriers around it. And yeah, I don't know. It's always fun to see. It's fun to see how other DMs are incorporating their players' imagination into the game as well. Because I also, I see it, but then I see it in some games and in some DMs, and then I just don't see it in others. So it's always just kind of interesting to to watch a DM be lenient on letting players kind of narrate their own story and everything that they're doing, and even involving like NPCs, or even involving the enemies during an encounter level of narration. But at the same time, they can be very railroady. So it's like it's very interesting, and I'm always fascinated to get behind like the workings of those kind of gameplays, because again, I only have my own to judge and the ones I've played in. So to me, especially with how many people are out there, it's just so limiting, and finding new ways to work with that, finding new ways to work with other gamers, I think is just something that always makes me a better DM, is finding out it. And even if I find out it's not going to work for me, it makes me a better DM by knowing that and by steering clear of it, because if it makes me uncomfortable, it'll probably make my players uncomfortable. So that's kind of the mindset, is that, always want to feed that knowledge and hopefully make out to be better in the end of it. So let's see. Cosmic, you have been writing quite a bit. So let's see. So all of that was your idea. If it would have saved, it would have made a constitution check against choking. And you think con is used for... Oh, yeah. So constitution... It had a pretty high constitution with 16, but yeah, definitely constitution for choking would make sense. The very next room on the bottom of the staircase, there was 3 swarms of hand-like creatures. Like the Thing, like from Addams Family, like Thing. But oddly, so hand-like creatures, they got a surprise round on us, but oddly, I was the one not attacked. The other 3 party members were. Yeah, that's always good when you can get out of the surprise attack. That's what's your secret? And then you got a 27 initiative, +9 due to the Haragon's hair trigger. Such a great name. +5 from Dex mod, and then used another unarmed strike to get this. Play rock paper scissors with the hand creature, using rock to punch it for the attack. Used unarmed strike to play rock paper scissors against it. You chose rock and then just punched it. That sounds like something that you would just see in a movie, and it sounds so hilarious that I would absolutely allow it, where you just like go up to it and just oh, that's fantastic. Man, gargoyles are such an awesome... I mean, like, looking at this, I haven't touched a gargoyle in so long, but this is such a great encounter, especially for if you have like an evil wizard, or like a mage's college, or even a castle, just anywhere that you want to protect. This would be such a great way to hide. Like, this would be, because again, I'm not really into I'm a DM, so it just happens the way I want it to happen. But if you're really looking at it from that perspective, you could have the place they're going into just very gothic looking, have these out there, and that would explain how they knew where you were. No matter how well you snuck into the place, there's gargoyles everywhere. You could have eventually you could eventually roll and eventually get a perception check to, and especially because they have dark vision. Yeah, they have dark vision, and they have a passive perception of 10. So, passive perception of 10, that's going to be pretty easy. But yeah, have a place that's filled with these. Not only do you have an alarm system for anything coming in, but you also technically have a way of locking people in officially, where if they try to leave, all of these things are basically just there. And then, of course, add in things like the Doctor Who Weeping Angels. You have anything like that where they just constantly move and get closer whenever you're not looking, just for the freak factor. And then you got a really good, you got a good defense around your base. I think that would be a really cool encounter to have a place that has a bunch of gargoyles, and only like 3 of them are real. The rest of them are statues, but they can constantly move and then just mess with your head about where they are. So that would be really cool. Awesome. And okay, and then let's see. So there was a moment where one of the hands got a crit on the artificer. Steel Defender's reaction force disadvantage still got a crit, so double crit basically. Ouch. Only for the artificer's reaction to cast shield negate both crits. But you guys got lucky. Those are some really choice rolls at like some clutch moments. You guys got nice and lucky. Are those hand creatures? Were those a homebrew from your DM, or are those a actual monster? Because those sound really cool. I'm really curious if you know what the write-up was, or if you can get the write-up for a future stream. I'd be really interested to know what the stats are on that creature. Nope. Let's see. Okay, so I think today, yeah. So for our high-low, once we start that, we're going to do spells, the D&D Beyond spells. We're going to do the highest rated spell in D&D Beyond, as well as the lowest rated spell in D&D Beyond. And then after that, we already talked about the stream. We already talked about what's going to happen on Thursday, because we're going to do that. What was I supposed to talk about? Oh, yes, Baldur's Gate. We will talk about my most recent ideas about Baldur's Gate. So you don't know, according to the DM, they are a type of swarm, but they did piercing and force damage. Interesting. I mean, it could just be a modified swarm, because you have, like, cranium rats. Nope. Swarm of rot grubs. Skeletal swarm. Humanoid sorrowfish. Could have been like a modified mechanical spider. 3 hours, only 3 rooms worth of progression. I mean, that doesn't sound that bad though. After the hand encounter, you came across a few seemingly friendly skeletons chatting around a campfire. And that's where the session ended. Yeah, seemingly friendly skeletons. This would make more sense. Let's see. Let's see what D&D Wiki says. Damage resistances, and then what do they do? Traits, construct nature, swarm, spider climb, web sense. So I'm wondering if it's a modification of this then. I bet they'll have a bone to pick with us. So yeah, I'm wondering if his hands were a modified version of the swarm of mechanical spiders, because this kind of sounds a little bit like it would fit, because they only have bite, and you said that it would do piercing damage and force damage. Interesting. This one, melee weapon attack, hits in the space, piercing damage if the swarm has half of its hit points. Okay, so yeah, interesting that it also does force damage too. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what the actual write-up of that was. Fits like a glove, you think? Oh. All right, so that is going to be the highest. All right. Oh, wait, Kage's not here. That means I have to take notes, damn it. I hate taking notes. That's why he's here. So I don't have to take notes. Okay, so. D&D Beyond spells. And I just have to take these notes so we can keep up the leaderboards eventually when they're created. All right, so we will do the top rated first, and then we will do the bottom rated. Your prints are pretty solid. They're like gargoyle stone-like skin. The fact that you can just keep going with them is the most impressive part. All right, so first spell on our list today on D&D Beyond. Wow, okay. So we have origami. It's a cantrip. Wow, okay, so this spell since was created in 2017 by CL Reader, and man, 33,500 views, 6,000 people have added this to their list, only 10 comments, which we'll go through. This thing has received 1330 in positive points. Only 42 people have downvoted this, or at least it only has 42 downvotes. That's impressive, actually, especially since the very next one has a negative 160, then a negative 98. It literally takes the fourth top item to beat the negative points on that. That's great. By the way, the character that currently has the robe that gives elemental resistance has poison and acid resistance. Nice. Man, that's such a good robe. Such a good robe. Wow. Okay, so cantrip. This is the top rated. This is the absolute top rated spell. And we are going to review it right now. All right. And let me make sure everything looks good on stream. I'm going to cover it up just a little bit. That looks fine. So we have the origami transmutation spell. It is a verbal symmetrical component. It is a cantrip. Let's see. It is a... Okay, so it's just a just a cantrip. It takes, the duration is 1 hour, 1 action casting time, range of 5 feet, and that's it. Okay, so what do we do here? So you magically fold and animate a tiny piece of paper or similar material, such as a leaf, within range. You can fold it into one of the following shapes: a boat, a crane, a dog, a flower, or a samurai. You can have up to 5 pieces of origami active at once. Okay, so far so good. Let's go with the boat. The boat floats on and is not destroyed by water. When placed in water, you can mentally direct the boat to move in any direction along the water's surface at a speed of 5 feet per round. The boat is able to carry a single tiny object that weighs 1 pound or less. I can already see how clutch this is. I can already imagine basically having a little RC boat, and it's not even hurt by water, and you can control it. What is the range? So you can make it into a 5-foot area, and 5 feet per round. So what's interesting is it doesn't actually say how far you can push it after it's made. The casting effect, the range is something within 5 feet of you, but this doesn't actually give you a range how far this thing can go away from you. That makes it so amazingly fantastic. I mean, imagine being able to sink a boat with taking a torch or a grenade and being able to like send it on, or being able to secretly pass message. Oh, there is a lot to be said for that. I'm really curious why they didn't put a range of how far it can go with your telepathy. Whatever floats their boat. Okay, so yeah, I like that, and it can have up to 5 of these at once. Can you imagine making 5 of these and just putting like a 1 pound torch and then lighting them and then letting them just go right into like the side of a boat, and you just push them into the side of the boat as the torches just try to light the side on fire. Like you just get to the side where there are ropes or something. Oh man, there is use for that. Okay, the crane. The crane has a fly speed of 10 feet. Okay, so the flying speed of 10 feet. You can mentally direct the crane to move or name a location within 1 mile that you know of. The crane will fly to that location and land, becoming inert. So you have a 1 mile radius. Yes, a 1 mile radius of basically being able to send a message. I mean, that's the first thing, obviously, is you could write something on it. It doesn't need to carry anything. It is a piece of paper, or it is a leaf. You write something on it, you fold it, and then you have it go. That's even better than like carrier pigeon, because even in like D&D logic, especially like in High Point, you know, there would be, depending on who you're against, they might have scouts that would take down any messenger birds, but a tiny paper crane would just almost be a bug to most people. Movement speed, it's not very fast, but the fact that it can go up to 1 mile, it may, and you could just have it with you, just always just have like a crane just chilling out, and then at any point just send it up to 1 mile, or name a location that you know. Yeah, just any mile that you know within one location, that, or any location within any mile that you know of within the location, because that's English, ladies and gentlemen. That's English. I like that. I do like the idea that it becomes inert once it gets there, so it is a one way. I really, really like that. I believe you meant telekinesis, control things with your mind. Yes, you were absolutely right. I am just all scatterbrained today, but no, you were actually right. That is completely what I meant to say. Yes. See, it's not just happening to me today. Yeah, see? It's infectious. So now it's happening to you. No, I already like that. Can you imagine doing this? If you could do like, what is it? Those, the runes, what are they, like wizard runes? The ones where you could like imbue something with a ward or a rune and it would like explode. I can't remember what they are, but if you could tie that with this, like make a rune on a piece of paper and then fly it to your enemy knowing they're going to open it, and then once they touch it, it like explodes. Like, oh, there are so many fascinating things you could do with this. Get a key to somebody. If that's a crane, would a big one be a stork? Man, that is, oh. Yeah, no, this is pretty clutch. I see why people like this. This is kind of like for a cantrip. This is dope. Dog. The dog has a movement speed of 10. You can mentally direct the dog to move. If a creature hostile to you moves within 10 feet of the dog moves up to its speed towards it and gives us a loud barking noise. Afterward, the dog unfolds itself and becomes inert. Again, with the being able to have the rune, if the rune, once it unfolds, could go off, you could basically make a warning that is also a bomb. You can animate a tiny piece of paper similar to like within a leaf. Yeah. So that's just like, and that's also just like a cool little warning. Like make 5 of those, have them around like your camp. That would be dope. But that's it. That's all it gets to do. That's fine. And I like how, they're all kind of like their own thing. Like the dog doesn't get to go up to 1 mile and do its own thing. The flower. So the flower is controlled by the time of day. It is open during the day and closed during the night. During sunrise and sunset, the flower slowly opens and closes respectively. That's interesting. It's a nice gimmick. I'm just trying to think of like what benefits that could really make for somebody. I mean, if you had a couple of those, like, I don't know even what kind of like messaging you can do with that. I'm gonna have to think on that one. That one's harder to like conceptualize. And then you can make a samurai. The samurai has a movement speed of 5. 5 feet. You can mentally direct the samurai to move. The samurai always points his sword in the direction of the nearest castle or fort. Huh. Interesting. I like the idea. I don't know. I would probably change the castle or fort part, but I like where it's going. And that gives me more ideas. That gives me... Okay, so... Let's look at this. So, okay, that's giving me ideas. Okay, so we have a boat. We have the boat that floats. It's not destroyed by water. You can mentally direct the boat to move in any direction along the water's surface at a speed of 5 feet per round. The boat is able to carry a single tiny object that weighs 1 pound or less. So this one doesn't give a distance. I'm assuming that means that you have to roughly stay with it, which has interesting uses. But if you can push it out as far as you want, it has a lot more. If you can't, then yeah, I don't know what benefit this would give you if it has to be that close to you. You'd have to be able to let the boat go somewhere, even if it's like within sight. Even if it can go as far as you can see, I'm okay with that. And then like once you can't see it anymore for like a full turn or a full round, it will become inert. But yeah, I don't. Or you could even make like the boat, again, if you're going to let the boat go that far, make it to where once the boat's in water, if it's removed from the water, it then becomes inert. So like if it gets beached, if someone picks it up, then it would become inert. That's how you could improve that one. I wish there was more understanding about what you can do with the boat in terms of distance. It needs to have a distance, even if it's the 1 mile or by sight. I think it needs to become inert if it's out of the water, so you can't just pick it up and put it back down. And yeah, with the 1 pound of weight, but again, tiny objects weighing 1 pound or less, it's not going to be able to get you to sneak much, but you could try to sneak something. It has to be a tiny object. I mean, we're talking about like a leaf or something. So yeah, I don't know. The boat, I love the idea of the boat. I think the idea of being able to maneuver it with your mind is great. It is just a cantrip. I think that it should have a once removed from the water, it becomes inert, and it needs to be tidied up with how far the boat can go away from you. The crane, I love the crane. No changes. The crane's great. One way up to a mile that you know, or it can just hang out next to you. Done deal. Love it. The boat's usages can be quite the sink or swim. You and your fucking puns. The dog. So I like the concept of the dog being able to, if a hostile creature moves within 10 feet of the dog, it'll like, I like that idea, especially when you're traveling. That's really, really cool. Because I think that's fine. I think that is great. Yeah. So the fact that it can just hang out with you and then it will be an alert, that's cool. The flower, here's where I think the samurai is like inspiring me a little bit. So the flower is controlled by the time of day. It is open during the day, closed during the night. During sunrise and sunset, it slowly opens and closes respectively. I think what it should also do is at any point it's held straight up, the flower, like just the top that's open or closed, will point and follow the sun. So I think that would be phenomenal, where you could pull out the flower and at least know your east-west if you can't see the sun, especially, and that would be also kind of cool if you're underground, because that's where the flower could really come into play. If you're underground and you don't know what time of day it is, the flower could give you a sense of time of day, but that would be fantastic if it also followed the sun. So when you pulled it out, it would orient and you always knew your east-west, or, you know, whatever the planet that you're on and whatever its, cycle is. But that's what I would change with the flower. The flower should be able to give you direction as well as tell you time of day. That would make it amazing. If the paper took a bite, it would just be a paper cut. Well, I mean, I guess he would be good if you were attacked against by rocks. He'd be fine. But if they have scissors, it's all over. Samurai. So the samurai has a movement speed of 5. You can mentally direct it to move, so you can just hang out with it. And then the samurai always points his sword in the direction of the nearest castle or fort. I would like this to say when at rest, basically when not moving, he will always like face. Now, castle or fort, I think that should be adjustable to your campaign setting. I don't think castle or fort makes all of the sense with the samurai, but you could play around with that. Maybe it will like always point you to like you know, the nearest highest ranked fighter or player. Maybe it could, you know, maybe it could be a temple of some sort. Maybe it could be to the nearest battlegrounds, the nearest active combat. There's a lot of different things I think that you could fit here, and I think that this would do well to just point where it makes sense for the DM. But I would add when at rest, like when just hanging out, it like points or kneels or does whatever in that direction. But yeah, I like the idea of these. I see why it's so popular. I see why people, and then having 5 at once. So basically being able to have 1 of each, that's insane. But you really wouldn't need, like, you'd probably have a flower. If you're underground, you'd probably have 1 flower. If you're looking for something, especially, you know, like what we talked about, like if it's campaign specific, you'd probably be using at least 1 samurai outside, at least 1 flower downstairs, you know, underground, unless you're splitting the party, and then you can have multiples. You'd probably have multiple dogs, all, you know, like at least 2 or 3, because if you can have 5, so you'd have like 1 samurai maybe, or 1 flower, maybe both, at least 2 dogs, and then you probably wouldn't have a boat most often. So I would say 2 dogs, a samurai, pretty much at all times, a flower when you're underground, and a crane ready to go at all times, just to be able to send out like a note or something. Because you can have that many active at all. And I also like the idea of like you can have that many active, so when you send your crane until it actually arrives. Oh, that's interesting too, because I mean, I don't... Well, I guess it really wouldn't matter, because if anything happened to it, it would become inert, not just when it got to its location. But knowing that you can make another crane, like, because you can only have 5 active at once, you technically know when the crane was either, you know, destroyed or became inert if you sent it out. So there is something to be said about that part. And then that would be on the DM on whether or not you could tell the difference between whether it arrived at its destination and became inert or if it was destroyed. Because if you can tell the difference, that could be useful to players. All right, let's check out the comments before we give this an official rating. View page details. Let us go. I thought it had... Huh. I could have sworn this said it had comments. Am I crazy? Oof. Ow. Yeah. Then comments. Where are these comments? I'm logged in, so I should be able to see comments. Give me the comments. Well, I will upvote it. I do like it. I probably won't add it to my collection, but I do like it, so I will at least give him an upvote. I don't know where the comments are. That's disappointing. I wanted to read the comments. Oh, and they have it available for Druid, Cleric, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Wizard. Unfortunate that we do not get comments today, but that's fine. So let's give this a rating. For High Point, I think it is a great idea. I think that it's creative. I think this is great for a lot of roleplay purposes. Of course, most of my reactions were how useful it would be in game. A lot of roleplay purposes, obviously. But at the same time, you know, there's so many unique ways you could do this, and depending on what you tweak each piece to be able to do, you could really pull off a lot of unique, more I want to keep saying RP, but basically like dialogue options where you could use this for intimidation, persuasion, things of that nature, and be able to use these items for those purposes, for deception. But at the same time, there are definite benefits to use them throughout the campaign. Not necessarily combat uses, but definite uses throughout the campaign that I think would, depending upon the DM, really valuably help the player, especially for something like the dog being able to warn you before being attacked, especially if it can wake you up. If you can have these things going, and it says it only, okay, so I guess it only does last an hour though. So the duration is only an hour. So you can't really, I guess you wouldn't really be able to have the dog stay up at all. But I don't know, being able to, especially if the dog can truly identify a hostile creature if you're not in combat, that would be really cool. Kind of like, detect evil, or good or evil. That would be kind of nice if the dog really could just let you know if someone who's approaching you is evil or has hostile intent towards you. And I wonder if, movement speed of 10 feet and then 1 mile 60. Okay, yeah, interesting. I wonder if this matches up to the 1 hour. I don't know off the top of my head if a movement speed of 10 would get you a mile in an hour. But yeah, I like it. I think I would change a few things. I think I would change what the samurai does in terms of how he operates and what he points at. I think the flower should point direction wise. The dog's great, the crane's great, and the boat just needs to be fixed in terms of how far it can go away from you, and a inert criteria, which in my opinion should be when it's removed from the water. So there would be some changes. I don't necessarily need something like this in High Point, so it will get knocked down a little bit there. It's pretty solid though. I do like it. I think it's cute. I don't know if I would choose this particular cantrip for myself, but I wouldn't mind. I would actually like to be in a gameplay with somebody who wants to use this because I want to see what would be done with it. I just wouldn't want to be that player. And I wouldn't really care either way about being the DM for it. So gets a couple good points though for RP purposes, and it feels like it's a pretty solid idea that someone took some time to come up with. So that'll give it a boost. 5 active at once, times paper, leaf, then range, fold it, flower. I don't know, we'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's not amazing. I don't really need it. It's a good, solid idea. I would love to see someone play it, but it's just not that fantastic. So solid 5 out of 10 high points. All right, let's move right on. We're actually going a little bit faster in this particular one than we did in the previous ones. Usually it takes us like a little bit of time, but we're barely pushing over an hour right now. But hey, sometimes a shorter stream's fine. I got work tomorrow. I'm sure so do you guys. But yeah, we will continue. Gotta redo the ratings. I always loved the rain. That's a cantrip. Interesting. So there's our origami. That's gonna happen one more time, everyone. As I do that to one screen where it would blind me over here anyway. Okay, so now we are going to do the / silence / or is that /? Is that /? No, that's /. Yeah, that's /. No, is that / I don't technically know. No, that is /. Jesus, what am I thinking? Because you always go top to down, and then it's back. / would be top to bottom, going right. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, we have this / silence / created. Wow, created 2 months ago. Not even 2 months ago. This thing is brand new, super new. 42 views already. The next one's 421. If this one goes quick, we'll do this one because at least this one's had some time. This one hasn't really had a lot of time to cook, so we may be not too harsh on this one, but we'll see. 8 people have added it, but it does have a -9 with only 1 good point. So we are going to give it our best shot. This is a 3rd level spell. This is the lowest rated. Origami was a cantrip. This is a 3rd level. 3rd level. All right. let's see what silence... Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on. This is going to be so quick. All right, it is a 3rd level spell. Duration is instantaneous, 1 minute. So it's instantaneous. Does time change? Does it instantaneously take a minute, or does it take a minute and then it's instantaneous? What do you mean? What do you mean? Casting time, 1 action. School enchantment. The range is touch 30-foot cone. Touch a 30-foot cone. Okay. Components: verbal, smudge skull, material, with an asterisk. Wisdom saving throw, damage effect, frightened. Okay. This bean was created to kill. 1 advancement made was a way to artificially create fear. This bean was created to kill. 1 advancement made was a way to artificially create fear. By touching the back of an enemy's neck, the simulacrum can create a specific shock to the spine, traveling to the brain, causing an intense amount of fear of that enemy and surroundings. Obey. And you need some component, some very specific component. Okay, so let's wrap our brains around what's actually happening here. So it is a 3rd level spell that you intend to touch an enemy. I don't know what the 30-foot cone means, but you touch an enemy trying to instill the frightened effect. Now, I'm pretty sure frightened is a very easy effect to come by, for 1. What does frightened do? Because a 3rd level spell. That's not helpful. No, that's not helpful. Basic rules. Frightened. So, frightened. A frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight. The creature can't willingly move closer to the source of its fear. And this is saying that you causing an intense amount of fear of their enemy and surroundings. So they're trying to say that they're trying to, again, so okay. What else? Let's see what some options are. See what this place says. Only certain D&D spells, D&D magic items, and special abilities can impose the frightened condition. Your D&D character can resist these abilities. So, 1st level D&D Warlock Hexblades and 2nd level Paladin characters can pick the 1st level spell Wrathful Smite. So, granted, you may not have access to Warlock or Paladin, but there's a 1st level spell that induces Smite. Target set 5, blah, 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 blah. Xanthor's Guide to Everything includes the 1st level Necromancy spell Cause Fear. So, yet again, a 1st level Necromancy spell causes fear. And it's literally just Cause Fear. Available to Warlocks and Wizards. It is a 1st level spell. Range concentration spell forces a target within 60 feet to pass a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of the caster for up to 1 minute. So, is this saying that the enemy and surroundings, I'm assuming it's the enemy that touched him, and the surrounding, I mean, I'm not seeing how this is going to make it better so far than that. So far, Cause Fear is better. The spell lets you shatter... resolve. Okay, the Illusion Scroll of Magic. The Illusion Scroll of Magic has multiple spells that will frighten enemies, starting with the 3rd level spell Fear. So you're basically recreating fear, essentially. This affects every single enemy within a 30-foot cone. Choose those that fail their wisdom save are not only frightened, but must attempt to dash away from the caster and only try to save once again. So again, we're being nice because it's brand new, but they're basically recreating the fear spell, which is already a level 3 spell, and they're actually reducing its effectiveness by having it be touch. We're not going to rate this one. It's new. It's only 2 months old. They're probably going to continue to work on it. As of right now, it's not looking good. So it's not looking good. You're already making a current spell more difficult without giving any balance to it. And I don't mean that it has to do more. Why would I use this spell to make it harder to do the thing that I can already do very easily? So we're going to move on. We are going to, this one is too new. We'll review again. So now we are going to get to the second worst rated, or officially the worst rated homebrew spell, because at least this one has had time to be rated. So do that, and here we go. This one, here we go. And that was, that last one was from Wandering Ghost Toast. Kind of like that name though, Wandering Ghost Toast. Ghost Toast. This one, okay, so, actually, my bad. I need to find out who was the author of Origami. Hello? Oh, you guys don't see my screen completely, like, glitching out. CL Reader. Okay. Gotta make sure we have all of the stuff. Wandering Ghost Toast. So we will come back to Wandering Ghost Toast. So now we have the Hidden Step, which, interesting, is a cantrip. And this one, sorry, I got to take all of these notes myself, is by Ruse 101. Now, it's called Hidden Step. It is a cantrip. It has 421 views since its arrival. It's had 7 ads, -9 with only 2 positives. So let's see what's so wrong about Hidden Step. All right, it is a cantrip. It is a bonus action. The range itself, it is a verbal symmetrical for the components. The duration is until dispelled or triggered. So once you cast it, you're basically waiting to use it. You have a divination school, and there is no attack. So as a bonus action, you can magically turn invisible until the start of your next turn or until you attack. Make a damage roll or force someone to make a saving throw. Wait, hold on. I read that weirdly. So as a bonus action, you can magically turn invisible until the start of your next turn, or until you attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Oh, you just need to say short rest there. Interesting. So, first off, I don't like the name, because Hidden Step is already too close to Misty Step, which doesn't do the same thing, because the enemy can still close the distance with Misty Step, but it does prevent your opportunity attack. What's interesting about this is, as opposed to, you can magically turn invisible until the start of your next turn, until you attack. So basically, this is the ability to... It's almost like Misty Step, but you stay invisible for a short bit. Or, just until the beginning of your next turn. So it's Misty Step with a bonus. Cosmic, would you actually agree with that? Would you agree that this is Misty Step with the added bonus? I wish Kage was here to confirm that. But I feel like that's exactly what this is. I feel like we are dealing with Misty Step so this one is a 2nd level bonus action, instantaneous. Briefly surrounded by a Misty, you teleport up to 30 feet in an unoccupied space you can see. So Misty Step lets you get away from combat Hidden Step lets you turn invisible until you do something, only until your next turn. Which, realistically, the most common reason you would do this is to disengage from an enemy or to close distance on an enemy, which Misty Step does. The only additional benefit this does is it keeps you invisible until your next turn. That right there, because, I mean, Misty Step is great. It's a teleport, and it's 30 feet in an unoccupied space that you can see. That is really great because it is a teleport, which obviously boosts its abilities. But this being an invisibility. So what is, okay, so let's full circle this. So Misty Step is a level 2. What is invisibility? Let's just look at the invisibility spell, and let's kind of see where we're going with this. Let's try to see this full circle. So even invisibility is a level 2 spell. And it lasts 1 hour. His lasts until dispelled. So I don't understand what it means by still dispelled or, well, I guess dispelled or triggered because... No, see, that's just weird. He says until dispelled or triggered, but it's until the end of your next turn or one of the other triggers. So this duration is until the end of the next turn. Invisibility is 1 hour. Misty and level 2, and you have all the same things. You can't basically do anything while you're invisible. Misty Step is pretty powerful being a teleporter. So that makes it level 2. This is up to 1 hour, which makes it level 2. So if you were to drop invisibility into a level 1 spell, it would definitely be at least half that, half hour, 10 minutes a turn, which means a cantrip lasting only until the end of your next turn, which is, what, a couple seconds, a minute, not even a minute. So you get 1 minute of invisibility as a cantrip. You know, I don't hate it. I mean, really think about that. It's basically invisibility at a level 2 is 1 hour of invisibility with all the same issues. You can't attack anything the target's wearing as long as the person in the spell ends if the target attacks or casts a spell. This one is until the end of your next turn, you make an attack, a damage roll, force someone to make a saving throw. All of that's fine. And it's not even a cantrip. This is the other interesting thing is it's like they're calling it a cantrip, but you use it like a spell. Well, I guess but that works too. And you can only use it once. This is actually not that bad. Basically, a 1 minute invisibility as a bonus action that you get once per short rest. Even if you decided once per long rest, that is cantrip worthy. I like it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think what I would do is it is a normal action on a short rest and maybe a bonus action on a long rest, because that way, or is it the other way around? No, it would be, yeah. So you can, if you're using it as a bonus action, it would take a long, actually, what if you gave people 2? So what if the idea is that you can cast Hidden Step as an action and as a bonus action? Well, no, that makes it more complicated. Yeah, I don't know. Being able to do it on a short rest, even for a cantrip, that's fine though, because it's basically only once. Even if you're spamming short rest, that's even once per encounter. And it makes more sense for a cantrip to be on a short rest than like a larger spell. Yeah, I like it. The reason why I like it so much too is because I have something similar where, again, taken from my personal wizard class that was derived off of the Dresden Files series. This makes me think of how the Veil works and how they're able to use illusionary magic. I mean, that's basically what this is kind of like an illusionary magic. You basically get to step behind the veil until the end of your next turn. I like it. I think this would work. I think it should be limited in High Point. It would be limited to who could use it, what type of magic users and casters would be able to use it. But in the end, I like it. It's a 1 minute invisibility bonus action one time per rest. That's not really that bad. I don't know why I got so much hate, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna upvote this. I like it. I was actually ready to like get into some like dirt, but no, this is fine. I kind of like it. I would make some alterations, and would I allow this? Would I actually allow this? Like, not necessarily as is, but would I allow it just as anybody can take this, or how much? Because they're saying it's available for Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, Eldritch Knight. Basically, they're just saying anybody can use it. I would severely limit who can use this, but I would use it. It's a bonus action. Just really be clutch sometimes, like. Yeah, I'm gonna give this. I'm surprised, but I'm gonna give the lowest rated spell in D&D Beyond a 7 out of 10 high points. Holy crap. That is a... I would change it and I would do stuff to it, but I'm kind of digging this one-time little like disappearing act. I like it with a bard. I think a bard makes perfect sense. Like kind of like it's like your stage act. It's, you know, it's like exit stage left kind of like act where you just and then you get to walk off stage. Or when you walk off a stage, like, you know, when you're performing, and if you want to act like that there is a stage and there really isn't a backstage, once you get to the edge, you can just disappear and just walk away. Like, it's kind of cool. Lose someone in a crowd for 1 minute. You can just you can just poof and then take a different turn. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of flexibility to this. It's not perfect, but it's one of those things. Again, the DM could decide to alter this, and with that altering, I think this could be very, very good in almost any D&D session. I mean, I would use the crap out of it. I would definitely, especially for a short rest, I would 100% use this as a player. I would definitely take this as a smaller, especially early on. Ooh, yeah, I would early on take this. So yeah, congratulations. Lowest rated spell, and it's a 7 out of 10. I like it. I like it. Not bad at all. Okay, where are we at? So we have the latest. So D&D Beyond high-low. I'm going to post this in the Discord because I have the ability to. So see, this is the things I can do. So I can go into like my stream where I would be streaming or talking to people, and I could be like, hey, here's what we did today. And then I can even go into like the leaderboards, and well, I wouldn't update it just like this. But even I could put it even in like the updates, like, hey, here's what was discussed today. But I do like the idea that I can come in to my stream and basically do that. So cool. There it is, everyone. We have those will be added to the leaderboards, and that will be moving on. We'll be moving on from there. Sweet. There we go again. All right, where are we at? We are at an hour and a half. That isn't terrible. We got some things done. So yeah, let me move into my last topic. I'll chat for this for maybe like 20 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a little bit early at the 2-hour mark today, and then we'll gear up for Thursday. So again, Thursday, we are going to have my buddy on stream through Discord. He's going to come on board. We're going to talk to him a little bit, get an interview, and talk about Session Zeros. Mainly just chat about Session Zeros, talk about how we like to devise them. He's done a couple very unique ones recently that I want him to talk about. He has a really cool setup process for his current gaming group, so he's going to come on board and talk all about that. And then we'll chat a little bit more about our Baldur Gate 3 Evil playthrough that will be happening on Saturday, or at least starting on Saturday. But with that, let us talk a little bit about Baldur's Gate 3 and where I'm at in my review of it. I was pretty harsh for my first couple hours of playthrough. My first couple streams, I was not very happy with it. But again, prefacing that, it wasn't that I was mad at the game or thought that the game wasn't good. Keep in mind that a lot of that was the first thing I did was approach it like a D&D game, like I would any other D&D session. I approached it from the mindset of what is the game going to give me? What am I going to work with? And what is it going to inspire me to do? And how much of it does it feel like D&D? How much does it really inspire me to play D&D and think of D&D? And that's why I was really, really harsh on it, because there was just a lot of things that took me out of the mindset and that I was, I wasn't really hopeful for, but it took me out of the ideas that really make D&D stand out as like one of my favorite games. And of course, I knew that going in. I mean, there was always going to be that difficulty because of it being a video game. But nonetheless, it was touted as one of the best, so I entered it with that, and it got pretty harsh remarks. But as the playthroughs went on, I lessened up on the approach as a normal D&D game, as a tabletop, and started to approach it as a video game, exploits and all, and min-maxing. And as I started doing that, obviously the playthrough got better, and I'm mixed on currently I'm still mixed. I'm on the fence on exactly how I feel about it, but it's pretty much going to come down to when I'm finally done, and I feel like I have a good grip on my ideas about it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a split judgment based off of what do I feel like it is as a D&D game and what do I feel like it is as a video game. Because as of right now, it's great. It's fun. I'm enjoying the playthroughs. I just don't have the time to just really sit down and dedicate hours and hours and, hours and hours and hours on it to play through all of the different types of ways you can do it and play through all the different scenarios and the dialogues. I'm just trying to have fun and see, is it enjoyable as a sit-down experience? And with the Evil playthrough, it will give me a much better idea of, is it really replayable? Like, does it really have that replay value if you truly are playing differently? Because a lot of games tout that you can, have unique experiences, but at the end of the day, if it only really presents itself in dialogue, like, if I played the game and essentially I feel like I'm playing the exact same game, but just with different dialogue, but I feel like the encounters are coming across the same way, because I know that of course you have the tadpole, you have the main storyline of Baldur's Gate 3 that's not going to change. That's not really what I'm talking about. But really, if we do this Evil playthrough and I basically feel like I'm playing the exact same game, I'm just making different dialogue choices, but in the end of the day, it's the same exact game, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. I'm hoping to see those really unique changes to how the game interacts with all the things that we're doing with it. So join us for that. That's going to be really fun. But as a D&D game, I still have a lot of reservations. As of right now, my biggest concern with Baldur's Gate is its long-term effects on the tabletop aspect of D&D. It has so much influence, and it's going to continue to be a very big influence on D&D, that there's potential for the video game mindset of D&D to be fundamentally changed based off of what is happening with the video game and what is going to be expected of players in terms of character builds, in terms of role play, in terms of encounters. There's something to be said for having custom type of encounters, but then when you have an expectation that all of the encounters are going to be seen from all angles, right? And it's going to be able to be min-maxed and perfectly approached. Those are going to be things that are going to be, I think, harder on especially older school DMs, if they're if they get players that are going to be more expecting this, not cookie cutter encounter, but expecting these encounters that are essentially so previously well set up that they can essentially meta game the encounter. And that has its place, but I feel like there's a lot of metagaming going on with this, obviously, because it is a video game, but I'm concerned about how much that's going to bleed into the tabletop aspect and start taking away from the joint effort of the RPG aspect, the actual role-playing aspect, and if it's going to start pushing the entire gaming community more towards a min-maxing of encounter versus party. And did our party create did we create a good enough party for these encounters, versus are you actually playing a story? Do you actually enjoy what's happening, right? And to each their own. If you want to be here just to create a party and to do encounters, that's cool. But I'm worried that that will become the expectation and the norm, whereas I would like to see the tabletop still remain solid in its storyline and its in the world building that we do. But personal choice. Outside of that, I cannot give Baldur's Gate enough good remarks about their visuals. Every step of the way, I'm blown away just with what they do. Their cutscenes are phenomenal. I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's more than, if you haven't played it yet, there are so many more cutscenes, or at least more cinematics. Not necessarily full-on cutscenes, but there are so many more cinematics for like when you're dialoguing with characters. There's always like a cutaway with actual like character cinematics. Sometimes the actual cutscenes with dialogue are just over the top. And yeah, it does really great with the visuals of the spells, with the abilities, with the combat. I do feel like it's a little cookie cutter sometimes. I would like to see a little bit more change in, like, why can't every spell have like 2 or 3 different ways it gets cast, like, from that character? Or, when they go do a melee attack, why can't they attack slightly differently each time? Or, I don't know. It just, I feel that ranged combat is really key in this game. I feel like there's a lackluster aspect to melee combat, and it just doesn't feel satisfying in the video game as much as ranged combat does. So yeah, great visuals, a little bit lackluster there. One of my biggest pet peeves right now is I feel so disconnected when I'm playing, especially in combat. When I'm doing encounters, I don't really necessarily know what's going on. It's so fast paced and there are no dice rolls that you know of. Like, it just kind of tells you whether or not you hit them and how much damage you did. But I played another D&D game called Solasta, and that was one of the things that I will say, probably the only thing Solasta does better than Baldur's Gate 3, is during combat, I never felt dissatisfied with what was going on because I was there every step of the way. I saw every dice roll that was made. I saw all the adjustments, and I was able to be part of it. So, like when you're playing normal D&D, and if you don't roll to hit, their AC, at least you're there counting the numbers and you're like, oh, I was like 1 number off. And that, to me, that takes away some of the sting when you were like, oh, I was so close next time. Like, you're more focused on being able to roll it than just being told you missed. Just, nope, you missed. Don't worry about what you rolled. You missed. You just missed. And that's the difficulty for me with a video game, is it's just like, all right, I want to go attack him. Yeah, you missed. Move on. Next person. It's like, okay, I just missed. And it just feels like, well, why did I miss? How was I close? Like, if you knew that you were close, even if you knew that you were far away, just knowing that is just kind of the, oh yeah, no, like, oh, I rolled a 2. I was never going to hit him. But that's the experience of D&D, right? It's that acknowledgement of what happened instead of just yeah, you missed. Oh, you hit him. You did 2 points of damage. Like, that's it. I had this whole big thing. I did all, nope, yep, 2 points of damage. You hit him. Thanks. Bye. It's like, well, like, how good did I hit him? How good did I smash his AC? Did I barely get, like, all of those things aren't, if you have good DMs, they narrate all of those things. And sometimes the dice just tell the story. But in the video game, you're just like, I attacked that guy, and it's like, yeah, you hit him. That's 5 points of damage. Next turn. It's just like, it's hard to feel like you're really involved, whereas you're more just dictating things. And I don't know. It's really difficult for me to truly like enjoy the combat when it's also very 5e combat-y. I do not like how the combat's run. The encounters aren't bad. I'm not necessarily, they did pretty good at a lot of the encounters. I don't like the Dark Souls-y dungeon, like, not dungeon delvey, but like, what's the word I was looking for? I don't like the platforminess of it, to where I could turn a corner and then suddenly, if I haven't saved recently, I'm now in an encounter that is way beyond my level. Like, that's what ended up happening, is I ended up getting into a fight that, I mean, I knew I was going to push it towards a fight, but it's one I just can't win. So if you don't save before almost everything you do, there's a chance you're going to lose so much of which, and it's just, it's so frustrating that it just doesn't have a smarter saving system. It's not a Souls game. It's not. It's fucking D&D. Like it's just so frustrating to lose time when you don't know what's around the corner. And I get that that's part of D&D, but you're a video game. You don't need to make me lose 2 hours of work or an hour of work or have a major conversation and have great rolls happen and me be very happy with how that dialogue worked out for my storyline and then force me to save scum that because I turned the corner and I went into the wrong door and now I'm in an encounter that's way beyond my level. It's frustrating because not only are the encounters sometimes just out of whack with what I think most DMs would have in a campaign, I think that they are also, they don't unfold properly. Like the way that combat's actually geared is, again, the game is very min-maxy against the player, which forces the players to be very min-maxy, which means that out of the so many combinations you can do with your character creation, there are far more bad combinations that you can make than there are good, because this game is very much geared towards min-maxing. And it's not to say that there's only one way that it will work, but it's geared towards making you want to constantly min-max and tweak it to get better. And I don't necessarily mean that in your feats and everything. I mean, like, from the very beginning of choosing your stats, choosing your race, choosing your class, there's so many options that are going to get overlooked because as unique of a storyline as they may provide, they're going to make for bad gameplay because they're not built for the way that the game is going to progress, especially with combat. And that, again, just the way that combat is done, it's just very, again, it lacks that DM touch. Speaking of DM, I'm not a fan of the narrator anymore. I mean, I never was a fan of the narrator. I mean, when there are some times where the narration is well written, but there's already been times where the narrator's been very repetitive. Like every time you talk to a goblin who has like the image, you just like, oh, as you see the image glow, aggression. It's like, fuck, I get it. Or authority. Yes, it's authority. And it's like, okay, every time I talk to a new goblin with this mark, authority. It's like, I'm done with it. But it's not all doom and gloom. I am liking it. I am getting more comfortable with it. I am very, very much looking forward to the evil playthrough. So not just because of the things that we're going to do and the stuff we get to do in game, but it's really going to, I've been playing the nice route. I've been playing the game. I've gotten pretty, not pretty far, but I've gotten a lot of different interactions. And it's just going to be really nice to run those interactions again and see, does the game truly feel different? Or, you know, again, is it just it's just, I'm being a dick this time. But yeah, I'm fascinated. We have a lot of really interesting ideas, a lot of things that we're going to manipulate. We have a few things that we're going to do some exploits on, as well as just, we've already kind of pre-planned, not like the interactions that we're going to do, but we kind of have an idea of how we want to approach the different options, like with the druids, with the goblins. We have a couple ways of how to tweak being evil while still getting all the benefits and boons from the game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then again, Thursday, it's going to be great because I'll finally get to have my buddy in here who also DMs. He actually DMs a work group and a friends group, and he also does a lot of 3D printing. He's the one I've mentioned before who has the entire like setup going. So that's also really fun. So we'll get some good insights when we talk about those session zeros, because he has some really cool ideas, and I really want him to talk about what he did in this last game as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I'm still going to continue playing Baldur's Gate and Shadows of Doubt on my pop-up streams, so join me for that. As well as, of course, you can always join me for D&D discussions on Mondays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you do like what you see, if you want to catch anything that you missed in this stream, or if you want to watch any of the previous streams, you can also catch all of those on our YouTube channel at MisfitGamersStudios, where we house all of those old streams. Eventually, we'll be making content for that. But for right now, all of the streams are out there. You can go check them out. All of the D&D discussions, all of my playthroughs. My first playthroughs were probably not that good because there was a lot of lag and a lot of freezing. But we've gotten all that fixed. We're golden now. We have some great streams. I'm going to pop the Discord link in there just so everyone can see it one more time. And again, go ahead and join the Discord with us. We'd love to have you in there. We want to interact with everybody. We want to get some new ideas with you. We want to see what you guys are creating. So again, get those submissions in here for every Monday where we'll do the homebrew review with Kage, my co-host. And then on Thursdays, Thursdays are still up in the air on exactly the topics I'm going to be doing until we get more interaction in the Discord. I think what I want to start doing on Thursdays, after this week, of course, is... either have special guests on continuously, which would be nice, but I think I want to start doing deep dives on Thursdays, kind of like I did with the old Discord, when I went through my old Discord and just talked about it. I'd like to start doing deep dives into High Point on Thursdays, and actually just talking to you guys more about my ideas, what I've built, how the world works, a lot of those mechanics. I mean, we've talked about the classes that I've built, so all of the mage classes and all of the ways I do with magic. Or not all the classes that I built, but all of the magic classes that I did. So I kind of want to do more of that. I want to talk more about High Point. I want to talk more about how I have the hierarchy of the gods, how the world works, how magic works, and just generally how I run campaigns and things. So looking forward to building some more ideas on that. But again, want to hear what you guys have to say. So join us in the Discord, join us on YouTube, catch us here on Twitch every Monday and Thursday, and then on the weekends I do my pop-up games. But y'all have been great. Cosmic, thank you so much for joining me. We're looking forward to talking to you about the Phoenix Folk next week with Kage, as well as some more of your ideas, because I do want to see what's going on with your realm. Also, if you can get me that write-up on those hands, or at least give me some details on what your DM did with those hand creatures, really interested to see what that was all about too. So hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you had a good start to your week, and hope that the week's going to go by just fine for you. Can't wait to see you on Thursday. Otherwise, have a good rest of your night and enjoy yourselves. Keep on gaming, and I will see you on Thursday.